Howdy, all you delicious people. Today I'm here to play more 7 Days to Die. Reasonably, I just kind of missed playing this game. So ultimately, I kind of figured out some kind of way to go through my old setup again. And reasonably, what I concocted, as per usual, was to if you guys have seen a lot of my old videos, normally I would play an entire thing of a thing on a PS4, and then afterwards I'd come back here and commentate over it, talk about what I did, or talk about if the game was challenging, talk about this or that, about whatever was going on. So yeah, that is pretty much another episode of this, because ultimately I really just wanted to play another episode of 7 Days to Die, and so otherwise, because I really love this game, I really enjoy this game, and ultimately, if you guys have seen any of my previous episodes, I've kind of usually either started over or had different housing or something like that. This is no different. Kind of, this is the me starting my first day, and normally when I would start recording, I would start recording from usually finding my very first house, maybe opening things and investigating that house, and then kind of maybe finding things to survive because there's otherwise resources that I need in the beginning of my playthrough. So I hope to be able to continue playing this game consistently. I hope people might be interested in this playthrough, but at the end of the day, it's just me just kind of commenting over what I already played. So it's realistically what this episode is. Previously recorded um, game footage. But yeah, so reasonably, this house that I found, this auto parts place, was like, well, this isn't like in the best setting, um, but luckily I just found this, and I was like, well, it's pretty fortified, so if anything, if I get attacked, um, then ultimately I'll have this to fall back on. But yeah, so ultimately, I took most of the time to just kind of investigate this place because I didn't actually go through and investigate it. So most of this is kind of going through this place um and kind of checking it out. Reasonably through this episode, I'm gonna go through and like I quickly edited a lot of things to our ultimately stuff like building stuff, and it takes a little bit quicker, so you guys aren't gonna get like this overally slowly builds of stuff. But I don't know. Eventually, someday in the distant future, it'd be great to do like co-ops and stuff like that. But I think that's kind of very much online play, where ultimately it's just kind of like, well, you would need like a PlayStation Network account and stuff like that, and which I wouldn't be able to do. But anyways, yeah, I just kind of wanted to go back into this game. Most of the playthrough, you aren't gonna probably much going to be able to see much because ultimately, I don't have a miner's helmet yet, so most of the stuff that I needed was to be able to, or most of the stuff that I needed to do was not in the most lit areas. But luckily, I had a torch in the beginning of this. Otherwise, I'd be just kind of just completely in the dark all the time. But anyways, there's gonna be some times where um it's gonna be edited, and I'll just kind of switch into doing other things. So there's some stuff that won't be completely edited out or completely like, hey, what's going on here? But yeah, there's some side stuff that I decided to do. There was some like I took this door out and then I got rid of it and then I placed it in here. Because I'm ultimately just like, yeah, anybody could break through those. Anybody could break through those doors. So ultimately, I just kind of went and went with a different kind. And I just went with a much more secure um, door here because ultimately I figured like, well, if anything happens, like I can kind of eventually um, ford up here and just kind of all I need to do is just get a really substantial door here, and then I think I'll be pretty in pretty good shape. Um, yeah, I really, yeah, like I said, I really do love this game. The only thing is, a lot of times it's kind of just like, man, I really wish that I could really find a lot of new things. Ultimately, it kind of gets down to there's only so much you can do as one person, and but a lot of times there's just only so much you can do. Um, because it either gets to the point where you kind of get so good at the game that ultimately you're just kind of like, well, okay, there's nothing to do now, or you're either so good at the game or like kind of just barely just scraping by every day that the experience is not that fun. To where it's just like, God, I need food, and God, I need water and whatever, especially considering whatever atmosphere you're in, because ultimately a lot of times like whatever atmosphere you're in, it's just like, okay, well, now I need to get now I need to get this specific item, and well, this specific item isn't in my area, isn't in my zone. um yeah, I think I start adjusting to start knowing that it's like, well, I should probably start getting some resources. Like, I was looking into definitely get a campfire because ultimately I need to eventually get water because I only have a certain resource of water, um, and then two, I couldn't find a real legitimate water source anywhere. Um, so probably on the next episode, whether it depending on what time of day it is, like ultimately I'm gonna end up having to um definitely just kind of journey a lot more, journey out. Now that I have a house that I can kind of go, okay, well, like this is kind of like my home. Now I'm able, and now I have that this place is like, okay, it's definitely protected. The only thing is I have so many like I have so many like safes here. I have so many like, so ultimately at night there might just be times where I can just bust open a safe and see whatever it has. A lot of times it might have not have nothing. But definitely yeah, I'm going to try as much as possible to kind of not spend an entire like hours upon hours doing like a house customization or something like that. No, because ultimately I don't think there's much to customize um for especially this place, but and I don't know if I'm gonna be in this place um for forever or whatever for a very long time, because ultimately per episode to episode there might just be a better environment to be placed. I had also changed quite a lot of the settings. Well, not quite a lot of them. Um, like I still, if I were to die, I would still be tying with just the tool belt left out there, so I won't like be missing too much stuff. But I kind of really just wanted it to kind of take one episode to just kind of say, "Hey, I'm back," but ultimately I'm gonna try as much as possible to realistically hope that people were are interested in a series of this, because again, that's kind of what I want to go into is eventually doing like another series of this. But I don't know, there's a lot of times where it's just like, yeah, there's no interest, or oh, there is interest, but So I don't know. I always love doing this series, and plus, ultimately, I think Markiplier live streamed this on Twitch for like 2 hours. So not saying it's like, oh, I'm doing it just because Markiplier is doing it. No, ultimately, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I really want to play this again, and I really want to just showcase this again because ultimately, like, um, I just really like. I've always loved this game. The only problems that I've always had is just like, God, I just don't have seemingly enough time to do enough stuff. Um, and then plus two, it's like realizing I don't want a very super long-winded video, or I just don't want to take a ton of time to play this again. Um, because ultimately you can just be just kind of traveling and finding where things are, and you're just kind of like, yeah, I spent about 2 hours in the game and I got absolutely absolutely nowhere. Yeah, there's a bunch of safes here. There's two small safes, and then there's that big safe there, which ultimately you can get guns. Ultimately, guns would be pretty useful for me right now, just because I don't have a lot of wood to get bow and arrows. But ultimately, it takes forever to um get a safe open. And yeah, I'm in the kind of the cactus area. One thing that you guys didn't see from me is just I ended up having to, like, I didn't end up here. Like, it took me a while to get here. Um, and then when I did get here, I had to completely and utterly like defend this area, and I had to kill so many people. I had to kill so many people to, or so many zombies to be able to have this place be safe. There was about like 6 to 7 zombies that I kind of had to like consistently get either away from this area, or I'd eventually kind of have had to like work around the entire building to slowly just chip away at them and then kill them. As you can see there, all over the ground. It's me looking for wood. Wood. Yeah, that's one thing that I do not like about this area is the lack of wood. So ultimately, that's kind of why I want to eventually I eventually want to move out and just kind of like find areas that do definitely have one wood, and two definitely have like more resources. So can survive a lot quicker that way. Yeah, most of this episode for this one is gonna be me trying to like scavenge through this area, and I don't know. I'm just kind of hoping for some substantial resources, and plus, there's a lot of stuff when you're beginning that you have to refind, like something as silly as like a cooking pot or whatever to cook water. It's like, oh crap, I need that, and then you're just frustrated just because you're like, God, I just need these like one or two simple things to be able to um, make stuff to live off of, and it gets ridiculous. And ultimately, it all depends on you, luckily enough, being able to find substantial resources. But I luckily do have quite a bit of clothes on me already. So I have like a football helmet, and I have glasses by the end of this episode, and all the hats and stuff like that. But definitely the one thing that I do not like about this area is just the fact that it's like so much cactus whatever, but also you can get a pretty good substantial amount of food if you're really, you can eat all these bananas, these the green bananas that come off the plants. So to me, it's a good source of like food, but you got to come up with the water somehow. So ultimately, um, I gotta try to find some good substantial amount of water. But yeah, one thing that I do not like about like areas like anywhere, when you try to make a home and you kind of just break through any door, it seems like after a certain specific amount of time, that door comes back. So it just kind of sucks because ultimately you're just kind of like, yeah, I really do not like that. Ultimately, like when I break down a door, that door could eventually over time reappear. So you have to break down the door again after a specific amount of time. Yeah, this is where I'm pretty much just like, yeah, I need water and I need to come up with water because I'm going to die of thirst. Um, all I have is like vitamins and stuff like that and like painkillers. So ultimately, it's just kind of like I would take like painkillers to ultimately just go like, yeah, I really just need to um have something to. And here's me, I think, kind of going for water, like trying to find if there's water anywhere, but I couldn't really find anything. It's like, is there a pond or some water anywhere? That's why I think where you see the front of the sign, I think I'm gonna turn around from the front of the sign and then just continue to go the opposite direction on my next playthrough. Once I get to a day cycle. I'm thirsty. But yeah, it's definitely the one thing that is really enjoyable about this is just the fact that it's like you never know like if you kind of casually going into something and just like, yeah, I think I could probably survive and I think I can do pretty well and then whatever and it's like, yeah, you just went into the wrong place and there's a bear and he's coming after you or there's a dog and you're dead. That's the whole problem with the game is just like um definitely you can go and just be like, yeah, I'm hoping I'm gonna get some good resources, but a lot of times it's a boatload of no. There's some murky water, which ultimately now I can create water, but the only problem is it's just, or I can drink that water if need be. Then I'll get dysentery, but I have vitamins, so eventually. But yeah, but I'm gonna go through and do like a playthrough and just um, kind of just keep kind of going in one direction, just kind of seeing what I find. I've played this. I've played this especially in novice game. I've played this plenty of times. So a lot of times when I see certain kind of buildings, I'm like, oh, I know where I am now, or I know where I'm going, or I know ultimately where I'm going to end up if I head to a certain direction. This auto parts isn't exactly familiar to me. But ultimately, also, like, if I'm also dying of thirst legitimately, I can go and buy, because I have some gold tickets or some gold tokens from the vending machine. I can buy stuff in the vending machine, but ultimately I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I really just kind of want to preserve um, those gold tokens for the trader, because that's where I think I eventually want to go. Because I'm hoping like a trader probably has like a mining helmet, so ultimately I can buy a mining helmet so I can have light on at all times. Because that's the one that is like the best thing to have in game is a mining helmet. So you can have light on at all times. And I know there's probably a lot of people like, yeah, I played this several times. I know what you're talking about. But then there's some people that like have never played this before and like, what is this game? But yeah, pretty much through this episode, there's not going to be much of me fighting zombies. Because ultimately, like, I fought all the zombies beforehand. Um, and, like, pretty much this area is kind of clear right now. So ultimately, if I kept continuing to go on um, specific areas, I definitely want to, one, get my health up. Because um, I think right now my health is at like 30 some odd. Right now. Because I don't have much food. I don't have much. I have some water, but yeah. But a lot of times, like people could say, it's like, well, hey, if you play this so frequently, maybe do random gen, and so it'd be like kind of much more challenging. Like, yeah, that'd be great. But whenever I've played random gen, one most of the time it's just kind of like, yeah, there's absolutely no resources here. There's absolutely no resources, and it ends up taking me um, to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I am miserable playing this game because ultimately it's just kind of like there there is absolutely no resources, and of course I'm playing as the Michonne. Um, I got all the DLCs and stuff like that from this game. I don't know if there's much more added or updates or whatever, but now I'm not sure anymore if some of this stuff keeps you cool. Like I know like the bandana, the sunglasses, and the hat would normally keep people cool um in 7 Days to Die, but I don't remember if that's still a thing now. Because there's several things while I've played this have changed because of certain updates, so yeah, but I'm gonna try to break into these rooms, and it takes a while. It took a while to break into these rooms because ultimately I would just be like, yeah, my axe really isn't powerful enough to break into these rooms, and so I'd have to go and get some kind of wood or get some kind of stone um, to be able to keep trying to break into these rooms. And here in these areas here, I got kind of what I need: steel pipe. There's my cooking stuff. Yes, thank goodness. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna die if I am not able to make water. And you can get murky water from toilets, which is great. So you can make water. I wish it would just give you water, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. I was kind of hoping from this auto parts place to get some kind of like substantial amount of something. But ultimately, I'm just like, well, I guess like I guess the whole safe aspect of it, like me cracking open this safe thing, is just like more than I could have. Like ultimately having safes there, I guess like yeah, crack those open. You'll get some substantial stuff. So there's nothing else in here. Just take the time and consistently just go at safes. And I guess I could also go and like mine underground for things, but I would really enjoy to be able to do like some kind of like underground like farming kind of situation, or some kind of farming of some kind. Because normally I rarely find an area that's good enough to be able to bring all kinds of farming to a place. Most of the time I just kind of figure out like, okay, well, here's this farming area. Like, okay, I'll just continue to come back there, kind of save stuff on my map. Um, but I don't know. I think I've kind of consistently forgotten to, um, I've consistently forgotten to like check my map or do upgrades or stuff like that. Lately, whenever I've played. Yeah, so I have some water now. But yeah, ultimately I'm kind of this playthrough I'm kind of playing pretty slow, just because it's been a while since I remember um most of the buttons. So it's been a while since I've played. So ultimately it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm going really slow a lot of the times because I don't remember what all the buttons are. Yeah, that's me eating the yucca fruit. So ultimately, if I really need food, then I can just kind of spam the desert for bananas. Yeah, I think ultimately the next episode, if people are interested, I'm gonna do, um, or probably might do it regardless. I'm probably just gonna do like a scavenge episode, hopefully, unless there's kind of resources that I absolutely need. But I'm gonna do a scavenge episode, but I'm not gonna showcase every single thing. I might just go like, okay, now I'm here in this area, and here's what I found. Um, but yeah, but if people have like an online account or whatever and don't have this game, definitely go ahead and pick it up, because ultimately it's very much more better for multiplayer game, because ultimately it's quicker and a lot easier. You can have one person just be the stay-at-home mom, and then you can have so many other people be um, the people looking for stuff. Sometimes like the certain people can do certain tasks. Again, making the game go a lot quicker. I've played like, or I've seen like Lord Minion 777 play this a lot, so I really just enjoy those playthroughs. Come on! Yeah, here's where I'm gonna get rid of most of my crap, because ultimately it's just like, it gets down to the point where you're just like, God, I have so much stuff. So ultimately you're just kind of like, yeah, if I'm eventually going to go out there and get rid of all this stuff, then yeah, I'm gonna eventually. I gotta get rid of a lot of things. Like I remember playing this originally, and I would have like so many like storage chests. Like I would have to have an entire room dedicated to them. It was really fun. Because ultimately, you would just have like your first chest would just be random crap that you found, but then after that, you would have like specific chests that do specific things that have specific items. It's like, okay, well, here's my food chest, here's my water chest, here's my um, random parts chest, here's my clothing chest. All right. Yeah, that was the very first episode of this. Ultimately, yeah, realistically, very slow episode because there's not much realistically going on. Because again, it's just kind of prepping realistically for kind of just the beginning of this. You just kind of like go, okay, well, like this is all that I have going on right now. But maybe in the next episodes, there's going to be a lot more interesting things. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be about whether or not I'll have resources going together or I'll have stuff that I'm going to be able to put out to really showcase. As much as possible, I'm going to try to edit out some things to where it's not as slow going. Because a lot of times when you see these kind of playthroughs, it's just kind of like, okay, like you're seeing somebody hit an item and it's like 2000 power item that somebody has to break all the way through, and it kind of gets like, man, this gets pretty slow. So I hope that I can go through and kind of um, get some bare essentials going first off, and then um, once we kind of continue, we're gonna go through and really get a lot more stuff done and out there. So I'm gonna get out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.